Hello and welcome to the Leeds Staff Podcast. My name is Darragh and I'm with Rocco Dean.
Hello there.
Hey Rocco, how's things as we edge towards Christmas? You see you're in your lovely Christmas jumper.
Yep, I'm sporting my favourite Christmas jumper. It's a belter, obviously Leeds related, and all right, I think. Yeah, I think thankfully for me, my wife has everything under control. I just have to sort of, support her, enable her to do all the work, basically. So it's fine, all good.
Oh, lucky you. I'm in the other bracket where my wife buys things for kids, and then I have to assemble them all. And it's she always buys the most tricky things to assemble. So I was drilling holes in my ceiling this morning so I could hang a child's swing in his bedroom. So you may have noticed James isn't here today. We're going to have to bring him to HR with regard to his commitment. So I think he's going to be up in front of the disciplinary committee soon. But no, James is over with the in-laws in, I don't want to say it, Ipswich. He's in Ipswich. So unfortunately, because that's obviously a third world country, they don't have any Wi-Fi down there, so he can't join us today, which is a pity. But he'll be back hopefully very, very soon. Not sure what his schedule is like over Christmas, but I'd imagine all of us are going to have some tricky ones over Christmas. Before we start the pod, special thanks to our sponsor, Bass & Bly. Bass & Bly for all your camera and photogenic needs, delivering the best brands such as Canon, Fuji, Nikon, Leica. Anyone else, Rocco?
I forgot my favourite one.
Panasonic?
Why do I always... No. Pentax.
Set Pentax and Swarovski. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where is that? Where is the shop again, Rocco?
It's 6 Beulah Street in Harrogate. I might even try and do the postcode. Is it HG14 or something?
Well, you're asking the wrong man here, Rocco.
6 Beulah Street in Harrogate. And go see him for some last minute gifts.
Yeah, exactly.
Find something good hanging from the ceiling.
Indeed. Christmas shopping, last minute gifts. There you go, Bass & Bly. So before we start the pod this week, we have some somber news, probably not news to people at this stage. But unfortunately, the news came out yesterday via X that our good friend, listener of the pod, Adam Thomas, aka Walmart, on social medias, has sadly passed away at the age of 36 years old, leaving behind his 3 kids and his new wife. So just from everyone here at Leeds, that we just want to wish Adam's family all of our deepest condolences. It's one of the reasons we didn't record the pod last night. I think it just knocked the wind out of us, didn't it, Rocco?
Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking news. I was devastated to hear it. Like 6 days ago, last week, I think it was 6 or 7 days ago, put a message on, saying he'd been really struggling, but, he decided to go in for, one more or another round of chemo to try and, prolong things. And I mean, the bravery of that man, to suffer such, untimely as well, obviously with Christmas, it's just, absolutely heartbreaking to go like this. But I mean, keep fighting. I mean, he is synonymous with that now. When I hear that phrase, I'll think about him because what he did, to prolong things and to help his family and his boys. It's an absolute inspiration. So I only hope that, his kids will grow up with that attitude ingrained in them. Because it was, fantastic effort.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we saw the news on X, it was a picture of him as a little boy in his Leeds kit, and your heart just broke. He's leaving a very young family, and to be fair, he was a big part of the Leeds community. Like we're on here, we're talking about football. People agree with us, disagree with us, and that's all great. But nobody disagreed with Walmart. Like what? That was a legacy his father started, whereby he just posted all the goals. And I wouldn't mind, but I was sitting down on Saturday evening, and I said, I'll just rewatch the goals on my phone. And the first place I went to was Walmart, and I thought, actually, no, I'll leave him because I know he's struggling at the moment. It was tragic, and obviously the tragedy compounded in some way that he lost his father to cancer only a couple of years ago, and then he took over the Walmart accounts. So all our deepest condolences. Rest in peace, Adam. From everyone here at Leeds, we know you're a listener. I think James reached out to you upon your first diagnosis, and you had some back and forth with James, and he was even delighted that we'd mentioned his name on the pod. But so very sorry to hear that news, and obviously I think that goes for all our listeners as well. In truth, myself and Rocco have talked about this. There's no easy way to transition from this into normal match speak. It pales in comparison, and there's no way to do it justice. So we're just going to do it. We're just going to jump straight into the match and try to deliver a good pod, which hopefully something that Adam would have wanted to listen to as well. So, Rocco, match against Oxford on Saturday, Elland Road, 3 p.m. kickoff, or a rarity. Team selection was a bit of an interesting one. What do you make to it?
It was. Yeah. We'd heard the whispers, hadn't we, of Strout being injured. So Ampadu coming back in. I think it was the perfect game, really, to bring him into, a game where he can sit in the back four and, practice a bit of easy passing and not have to do too much defending. Although, to be fair, there was a couple of scary moments in that game. But, I think it was a perfect game for Ampadu to come back and stretch his legs and grease himself up for the bigger tests to come. I don't know whether Strout will be back for either of these away games. I hope he is, but Ampadu did all right, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and you're right. There's an element of good timing about it in that, there couldn't have been an easier game for him at Fortress Elland Road as well. I mean, even Oxford away would have been a relatively easy game or handy game for him to come into. So for it to be at Elland Road, the timing couldn't have been better for his reinitiation into the team. And obviously then Peru got the nod up front ahead of Joseph, despite a bit of a quiet game.
Yeah. I can't say I was surprised, but I did want to see Joseph, but it is what it is. I think with the front four, you can basically pick whoever you want, can't you? Like, they are much of a muchness, really. And like with Gnonto, he dropped out and Solomon came in again. I wasn't particularly bothered about that. It's almost like you want the ones that have been a bit quiet to play to get their confidence back and their form going again. But then the same would go for the subs who are knocking at the door. So, I think he's got a pretty easy job going on here at the moment, Farke, with his team selection up top at least.
Yeah, absolutely. We might come on to the Peru Joseph debate later on, because I might have a slightly different opinion with regards to his droppability at the moment, regardless of the other three. But we'll come on to that maybe a little bit later in the pod. So Leeds started off very, very well, as you would expect. Fortress Elland Road. I think I saw a statistic online yesterday that we have won more games and more points at Elland Road this calendar year, than any other team across all the top leagues in Europe have done at their home.
Impressive, isn't it? Probably played a few more games, I think, but regardless, you'd expect that we'd be up there no matter what. And we delivered the performance that we all expected. I don't know, it's weird. I don't know if it's because we're so good, or is it just like the gap now, the financial gap of coming down from the Premier League. But in the pre-Bielsa years, let's say, even the Bielsa years, when we played the relegation threatened teams, we never pumped them. Like, I always remember people kept saying, like, someone's going to cop it, and it never happened. It was always like 2-1, 1-0, maybe a 2-0 if we were lucky. But like this season, it's just a doddle, isn't it? Like, we're just doing the business so professionally at home.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, because I was one of those people who thought someone's going to get it under Bielsa, and it's one of my big regrets that no one did. We ended up going the opposite way. We got pumped a few times by City and Liverpool, but I really thought just one day, because we used to make so many chances under Bielsa, and I really just thought one day it'll just click and like 9 out of 10 shots will go in. And it just never happened. It just never happened. But speaking of 9 out of 10 shots, like, there was some really good early opportunities. Tanaka hit the side netting at one point from an angle where it looked like he couldn't possibly hit the side netting. It was almost in front of it. And then there was one where Dan James cut in on his left foot and looked like a curl it into the bottom corner. Keeper got a really good hand to it, to be fair to him. Pushed it out to Aronson, who spooned it over the bar for the third time this season.
Yeah, that Tanaka one I thought was in. I was literally celebrating. I couldn't understand it when the atmosphere just died down. I was like, what? How did that not go in? The net, like you said, I was right behind it. It was like, that can't hit the side netting, but somehow it did. Made a really good start. And I mean, should mention the conditions as well. Like, they were insane. Like, the wind was, windier than I can ever remember. Like, the corner flags were horizontal pretty much the whole game. But it didn't seem to affect us in the slightest. We were straight out the blocks and straight at them. How long did it take then before we got the first goal? It wasn't too long, was it?
No, it was early doors. Today was in the first half. It was about 30 minutes or so. I'm not too sure. I didn't time it. But you're right, the wind looked insane. Obviously, I was watching it on TV, and every time there was a free kick, the ball was rolling. Their keeper was milking that a little bit, whereas you could see Rothwell was getting frustrated with it at one point where he was trying to ping one in. But I mean, how windy was it outside the stadium? Because I mean, the stadium has almost 4 walls to kind of contain it a little bit. You must have been getting blown into the middle of the road.
Well,
to the stadium.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and it was after the game where it was the worst. I went to the Peacock, and in the beer garden at the back, they've got well, I'm going to call it a tent, but it's not that. There'll be a better word for it. But like the wind was absolutely bashing that. I thought we were all going to blow away. Like it was. I don't know how it stayed together. It's quite impressive. Yeah, it was almost scary, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like you say, inside Elland Road, even though you got the East Stand as shelter and everything else, it was non-stop, absolutely swirling round. And then, second half when the rain started as well. It's like, God. I mean, you'd rather be playing because at least you can run around a bit instead of like just stood in the middle of it all.
Yeah, I felt sorry for the people in the East Stand lower. They seem to be getting the worst of the rain, just driven into their faces. But as you say, it wasn't too long before we forgot the wind. And Solomon ran like the wind. So a break from, I think it was pretty much from our own box. Solomon drove the ball forward, passed it into Peru. Peru gives it back to him. Wasn't the best of passes, but Solomon, brilliant bit of skill to nick it in front of the defender. Again, drives into the box. An excellent cross across the face of the box into that corridor of uncertainty where between the keeper and defender. And best player in the league, Dan James, is there to tap it in the back post.
Yeah, Solomon did so well. And it's funny, when I was watching the highlights back on the edge of the box, Solomon, he gets it early on in the move, doesn't he? And he races away. And I actually thought it was Dan James, like he was going at that speed. It was like the speed of James breaking away. And I was like, oh my God, did James start the move? And then actually, it turns out it was Solomon. So brilliant play. And like you said, the second part of it as well, when he gets away from the defender and then skins the last guy and then puts it on a play. It's top quality play. And it's probably something that I don't think we've really been seeing from Gnonto. I've not had that end product from him. So good signs for Solomon. Hopefully he can build on that, because I think there's a lot more to come from him. Like the first time I saw him, I thought he looked absolutely quality. And we've not really seen him. We've seen it in fits and spurts, if anything. But that was much more like what I hoped we were getting on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a very exciting move. I mean, driving through that left side of the park and beating players and skipping in ahead of people, and then having that bit of quality to actually finish it off with the right assist was fantastic. And good finish by Dan James too, because the keeper had come across. I mean, anything other than where he put it, keeper had a chance of saving it. So just to kind of guide that into the bottom corner was showing a bit of quality on Dan James' front as well. But strange enough, it wasn't all Leeds then. So the next two big chances actually fell to Oxford. The first one, I don't remember the guy's name, bit of a ponytail or whatever he had going on. And he races through one-on-one with Melia. You thought for all the world he's just going to go across him and score here. And he plays it towards James in the Reevy stand the other way.
We were calling him Mudrick all afternoon. He was the only player that was standing out, and I think he is actually an Eastern European. Can't remember his name, couldn't pronounce it either, I don't think. To be fair, I would give Meslier some credit here, because he did come rushing out, and he is really good at narrowing the angle. And honestly, I mean, I was right behind. I don't think he gave the guy a lot to go at, but I mean, nevertheless, it was absolutely horrific finish. He's absolutely skied that and nowhere near the goal. But I thought I was quite pleased for Meslier. And if you noticed as well on the replay, like Meslier has a little fist shake when he's not saved it, obviously, but the guy's missed. But I think we can give Meslier some credit for his clean sheet for that.
Yeah, I know where you sit in the stadium, so you must have a very good view of that. So I think we can take your word on that one. If he's come out and he's narrowed the angle really well, and maybe that's what's put the player off, because if the angle is so acute, you don't have a lot to aim for, and you think, I'm just gonna have to whack this. Whereas if the keeper gets that wrong, you've got something to shoot at. And then the next big chance was early in the second half, because not much really happened for the rest of the first half. The next big chance was early in the second half, and they had a header. which defender nipped in front of our, or just well, he was a defender, but he nipped in front of our defender and got a header in. A better header might have been more troubling, but it wasn't.
Yeah. I think it was Peru, so it was supposed to be marking him, but it was really, really poor. We were basically asleep, weren't we? And I mean, that's a big let off. If it hits the target there, then yeah, we're in trouble. But yeah, fortunately they didn't have that quality. But yeah, definitely, I think it acted as a wake up call because I think from that point on, then I was going to say took control. Obviously, we were in control the whole time, but I think we turned it up a notch thereafter, and suddenly, blew them away.
Yeah, indeed. I think it was one of the best halves of football, best 30 minutes of football I think we've played in a long time. Like, we could have had 7 or 8 chances from then on. Obviously, the first one was Jayden Bogle. Good move down the right. Like, we 1-2 with Dan James into Brendan Aronson. Aronson turns, swivels, plays it back to him, and Bogle slots it home.
He scored a pretty much identical goal, didn't he, Bogle? I think his other goal at Elland Road. And he's good at getting in those positions. I think he played well. I think he had a good game. I didn't really understand why he got so much stick for the Preston defeat. I'm happy with him. I think he's doing absolutely fine. So I think he's worthy of being in our team at right back. And another positive performance, a good finish as well. Yeah, a good goal, good little intricate play. Aronson getting his assist as well. He needed that. Probably needed his assist more than his goal, really, because his job is to create. And it was 1 assist, wasn't it, before yesterday? So yeah, good to get one on the board.
Yeah, it was only the one before yesterday. I watched it back, and I don't want to be too harsh on him because, to be honest, I thought he had a good game. And one of the criticisms I've had of him is that his outputs haven't been good. But obviously, goal and assist, that's a good output. But he did kick it off his standing leg. That is the truth. I'm not making this up. I'm not being biased. That's actually what happened. He turned, swiveled, tried to play it back to Bogle, and he kicked it off his standing leg, and it went straight to Bogle. So maybe it would have gone straight to him anyway. I don't know. Yeah. But speaking of Bogle, actually, I think it's interesting. There's been a discourse on X or Twitter about it straight after the match. A lot of people defending him. I kind of wonder, have Leeds fans jumped to the conclusion that he was crap a bit too soon? He had a tough first 4 games, but I think he's been pretty good since then, with a sprinkling of poor games. Like, I thought he's been poor. I don't even know the games now, but I think he's been poor maybe 2 or 3 times. Where I thought, no, that's a poor performance by him. But that's 2 or 3 times out of kind of 17 or 16, which isn't bad at all. So for me, I'm in the same bracket as you. I think he's good. I think he's fine for what we need. Is he going to do it in the Premiership? Don't care, because we're not there. The job is to get there first, and we worry about that afterwards. So I just think, learning from Bielsa, as we've said, sometimes players need a little bit of time. Yes, he did have a poor first 4 games, but I think too many people wrote him off after those 4 games, and I think he's fine. Yeah,
I feel like it's just because he's probably one of the players you can question. Like, you can't question Rothwell and Tanaka. The front 4, whoever it is, we know the quality players. They might have off days. The centre-backs, obviously, Rodon and Strauch are, monstrous at this level. Again, they can have an off day. But yeah, if you're looking for an area of the team to complain about, then yeah, I suppose you're down to right back and goalkeeper and maybe left back, obviously, as well. But yeah, I don't know. It seems nitpicky. I mean, I've seen some horrendous fullbacks wearing the white shirt, and Bogle's not one of them. No way.
No, that's a fair show. I think that's actually a very good summation of it. And then, as I say, the goal started rolling in at that stage. And next up was Brendan Aronson. I think it was a ball from Peru to Solomon, who put it in for Aronson. A lovely finish, has to be said. Gave keeper the eyes. Keeper went one way, and he just slotted it in the bottom corner, which is one of the criticisms I've had of the whole team all season, about blasting it, or just slide it into that bottom corner, and he executed that very well.
Yeah, it's positive to see that. Yeah, how many people just put their foot through that, and yeah, maybe it's because we were 2-0 up. I'd like to see them do it at 0-0. Woody just blasted it, but regardless, yeah, lovely finish. And yeah, I think on Saturday, like so many times in the past, loads of games, Plymouth this season, Huddersfield last season. There was loads of others where we were like 3-0 up at half time, and we just completely take our foot off the gas. And I think it was quite lucky, really, that to go in at 1-0, because then we still have to go for it second half, and they never took their foot off the gas. They were on a roll then, and they got the third goal, and then it was just sort of chances on tap. We bring on the subs, and we just I think we got better and better as the game went on. So it was actually really enjoyable. I mean, I can't say that it was exciting still because there was no real jeopardy, but I think it was like a really good afternoon. And it was just, Harrington's goal sort of, you hoped it would open the floodgates, but never quite got the amount of goals we deserved in the end, I don't think. But you'll take what you get.
Indeed, it's funny you mentioned the subs there, because the last kick of the game for Manor Solomon, right before he was substituted in that obviously prearranged sub, was his goal. So I think it was Peru this time with the assist into Solomon, and a very good finish by Solomon. He just smashed it past the keeper, gave him absolutely no chance.
Yeah, it was one of those goals that looked better being there. Like, didn't look as impressive on telly. So, like, my mate next to me he turned around and said, "God, I flinched when that hit the net. Like, he hit it so ferociously, thought it was going to hit him in the face, and he's flinched, but the net came to his rescue." It was a cracking finish. Absolutely wallops that one, and glad he got his goal, fully deserved. Yeah.
And that leads us to the substitution. So then obviously Solomon came off, and I think a very good game, really good contribution from him. It was Solomon, Aronson, and Peru all came off. Joseph, Ramazani, and Nonto come on. And to a man, I thought they were all fantastic. In fact, Isaac Schmidt came on not long after, and I thought he looked really, really good too.
Yeah. He's only had 5 minutes here and there, hasn't he? I don't know what the longest appearance he's had is yet. Should have had a look, but can't be more than a few minutes, I don't think. And he always looks like a good player. So I'd quite like to see him given a chance at some point. I'm sure he will. Well, maybe we don't want him to. Maybe we just want to stay fully fit all season. But I'm pretty sure he can do a pretty good job. But like you say, everyone came on and did really well. Ramazani, I think he was a little bit unlucky with the volley he had that he put wide. I mean, he should have scored probably. But decent effort, confident strike, struck it well enough. The header, he should have definitely scored that. But at that point we were running riot, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Ramazani was very good when he came on and showed his goal threat really, really well. Maybe rushed the volley a little bit to get a little bit more time than he thought he had. And obviously, I'm sure heading isn't his thing, but like Somerville showed last season, when you get those opportunities, you got to put them away. But I still think he's a cracking player. When he got injured, I thought he was our best player, our most informed player at the time. So the more he pushes for his starting place, I think the better for all of us. But that wasn't the only one. Ethan Ampadu nearly scored at one point. He got through strangely in a right back position. We saw Ampadu and Tanaka actually team up in midfield once Giavogi came on for Rothwell. Yeah. So it was the first time seeing that. I don't think it's going to be the last.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, at that point it was just, it wasn't champagne football, but it was, we were really motoring on nicely. I was going to mention about Ramazani's header, like even just the fact that he got on the end of it, steaming into the middle, getting in the 6-yard box to get on the end of something. Definitely something that we've lacked, something that Solomon has never done. I don't think it's in him to do it. It's just either not his game or what, but he doesn't do that. So I think that's a big plus as well. I don't know how you get Ramazani in the team, but I don't know how you leave him out. I don't know. Try him at number 10. I don't know, but he just seems too good to me. I really want him. I want him there. Obviously, you can't drop Dan James, can you?
No. I don't think you can drop Solomon either at the moment, but there might be long term. He could get in there in the left. For me, I'd play him through the middle or play someone through the middle. I know Brendan Aronson's a Farke man. I think he has a part to play this season, but I don't think he's one of our best starting 11 players. And for me, it would be Nonto or Solomon on the left and Ramazani through the middle. Or if Ramazani had left, one of them through the middle. Some form of variation of that. I would say that Dan James, Ramazani, Nonto and Solomon are all more impactful and better players than Brendan Aronson. That's just my 2 cents worth. But while we're on the subject, Joel Peru. So I'm going to make the case for Joel Peru here. A lot of people would have seen during the week the stats are on the XG across Europe's top leagues, I would have seen that Patrick Bamford was the worst striker according to XG, with I think a whopping minus 23 goals against his XG, which effectively means that when you tally up all his XG going back as far as I think it was 2017,
18.
2018,
from when he joined Leeds, yeah.
His chances, to hit kind of zero and be bang average, he would have still scored 23 more goals. So he's really underperforming on his XG. Whereas you look at like Messi, I think was up there at number one, and I think he was plus 40 something. So in terms of chances, so it just kind of makes me think, because in fairness, I do like Bamford, and I'm quite open about that. But it makes me think, has my opinion on strikers and has Leeds fans' opinions on strikers been skewed over the years? Do we now value people running around and pressing more than someone who just scores goals? So I look at Peru, and I do like Peru, and I watched his game very closely against Oxford. And whilst he didn't score, I think he was involved in all 4 goals. No, he wasn't involved in the Bogle goal. So he was involved in 3 goals. He had an assist and 2 pre-assists. When he came on against Middlesbrough, when I was over at the game there during the week, he was excellent when he came on, dropping into pockets. I think he had 2 assists in that game as well. That was, with a 20-minute cameo. He's our top scorer with 7. He's got 5 assists now, so he's 12, which puts him way ahead of the next, which I think is ironically, I think is Aronson on about 7 or 8 combined. So for me, I think I need to reevaluate what I value in a striker, and maybe say, look, if we've got 10 players who are all running around and being committed and flying in challenges and hustling and harrying, maybe that's enough. And maybe we just need that Peru to sit up front and score and create goals, which is what he's doing.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've mostly been Joseph all season, pretty much. But I get that 100%. Yeah, and I think at home, especially, like Peru has done the business. It's just in the away games, like he has been so anonymous and just not fighting for enough balls, not being a focal point is a problem away from home, it seems. I think I do agree. Like he has got the quality, he's got the quality to lead the line in this team. In terms of how we value a striker, it is a funny one, because I think in Bielsa's system, you needed a striker that's mobile, that can run around. So like Uruguay now, they've got a couple of striking options who, score more goals than Nunes. And even when Nunes was suspended for a while and Bielsa kept picking players, and like the fans on Twitter, the Uruguayans, they don't understand why he's picking these players. But, the reason is because the system needs a guy up front who can run and harry and chase, a mobile striker. But yeah, for Farke, I'm not so sure that that's particularly needed so much. And like you said the other week about, what does Farke need in a number 10? Yeah, I think Farke's a lot more adaptable, even though some people do call him stubborn still. But I think he'll sort of make use of what he has and, to the best that he can. So I don't know, maybe ask me again after these 2 away games, because I'm sort of on the point now where I'm like, yeah, I think you probably do have to play Peru, really. But don't know, like in my heart, I'm still leaning towards Joseph.
Interesting. We'll see how that pans out over the Christmas break. So that concludes that match. It was a convincing win, 4-0 against a lowly Oxford. I think Oxford actually not too bad, to be honest. I think that move actually where the guy skied it over the bar was a really nice move. Maybe Gary Rowett might get them going, but to be honest,
yeah. Are they even in the relegation zone? I don't think they were before the game, and they definitely offered more than a few teams that we've seen this season, I think. So, yeah, but like you say, do we care?
We'll see how they go, but who cares? So, Boxing Day, and my son's birthday, so I'm going to be very, very busy that day. Stoke, away. Exactly where you want to go on a Thursday night.
Oh, God, I know. Yeah, it's going to be windy, stormy. They have not won in absolutely ages. All the recipes are there. Sorry, all the ingredients there for a recipe for disaster. Surely this time we'll get the job done. We lost there last season. Thought we played pretty well that night. It was a complete fluke that we lost that game. Play that 99 times, you win it 98. obviously there was the Bamford penalty and all that. Yeah, got to think we're going to do it. We have to win that. And obviously we don't have to win, otherwise we're not going to get promoted. But we need to win away from home. And I just can't be asked with the fallout of another away no-show.
Yeah, I think what you're pointing at there, I think it's the psychology of it, that we just can't afford psychologically to have another poor away performance that we lose 1-0. I think for our own sake, for pushing on in the league, it's important that we get a win there. And to be honest, it doesn't matter how we perform. We just need a win. We just need to prove we can win again on the road.
Do you think we need 6 points then from Stoke and Derby? So obviously, like if we beat Stoke and lose to Derby, it's back to square one. If we won and drew, do you think that's okay?
I think it's
Farke would take it.
Probably okay in terms of points, but I'd suggest in terms of quality of opposition, a draw at Stoke and a win at Derby would probably be the more realistic one. Like Derby, I thought Derby were very poor, like very poor. And I'd love to go to that Pride Park and give them a battering again because obviously there's just a lot of history there. But I think if you're going to be challenged at the top of the table, like if you look at Sheffield United or Burnley or one of them, you'd say like, will they go to Stoke and Derby away win? Oh, yeah, they probably will. They'll just get it done. 1-0, 2-0, they'll just get it done. And we have to start doing the same. So I think we need 2 wins.
I think all the promotion rivals have got really difficult fixtures, actually. Even though we've got 2 away games, I think we've got the easiest of the 3 games. And Burnley play against Sheffield United as well, don't they? So that's a good one for us. Suppose we want a draw, but if we can get 6 or 9 points from the 3 games, or even just the next 2, 6 points could put us in a fantastic position going into the new year.
The same about the draw. To be honest with you, I'd, and I could be in the minority here. People can feel free to disagree with me on this on X or any of our socials. I wouldn't mind seeing a Sheffield United win. I don't care if the 2 of us break away at the top of the league and we end up second. That's fine with me as long as we get promotion. Obviously, I'd love to be in a position to win the league. You want to see silverware, you want to see trophies. But I think the prime objective here is to get out of this league, and I don't want to be too fussy about that. So for me, Burnley against Sheffield United, 3 points for Sheffield United, 0 points for Burnley, 3 points for Leeds, and the 2 of us start pulled away. And then I think, let's see how Sheffield United are when the pressure's on. And I like Farke's teams when they're the underdog, when they're slightly behind. As we proved last season, we can reach the summit of the league. Staying there, that was the problem. So maybe just get there the very last game of the season. Then that'd be perfect.
Can't disagree with that. Yeah. Secretly, not even secretly, but I always lean towards Sheffield United win, just get the top 2. Don't want to be embarrassed by having to win the championship anyway, do we? We're above that.
Clearly. With that, anything else, Rocco? Player ratings?
Player ratings, nearly forgot. We have Melier 7, Bogle. Did we give him an 8? I think
we have to give him an 8 for his goal.
Yeah. Byram 7, Rodon 7, Ampadu 7, Tanaka 7, Rothwell 7, Solomon 8. Could we even give him a 9? 8. 8's enough, isn't it? Yeah. Aronson, well, I said 8, but you and James, you campaigned for 7. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, I'm on the fence
Christmas
about
Eve.
it. I'm on the fence. I thought his overall game was okay, but he did produce, and I've been criticising him for not producing. So I'll lean with you. I'll lean for the 8 as well.
Give him an 8, bless him. And
James.
And James, 8. And Piru, 7. You want an 8, don't you?
That's what I'd like to give him an 8 because I said those 2 pre-assists, they often go unnoticed. It's always about who's the assist and who's the goal scorer. But twice he was the one putting it in a position for someone to make the assist.
Let's do it. It's Christmas. 8 for Joel Peru.
The front 4 get an 8 across the board. So speaking of Christmas, I'd like to wish all our listeners and viewers on YouTube a very happy Christmas. We will be back after the Stoke game. Not sure when, because let's face it, when it hits Christmas, we don't know what day it is. You just days just roll into one another, and then you end up recording when you record. I'm in a makeshift studio even here today. But Rocco, looking forward to Christmas, mate, and looking forward to Leeds hopefully getting 3 points.
Merry Christmas to you and everyone.
Merry Christmas all. Take care.